Marina Mabrey admits she overreacted shoving Caitlin Clark.
And shoving Caitlin Clark is what the headlines say. All I think of is we forgive, but we don't forget. Marina Mabrey was heard saying, damn if I do, damn if I don't. How could you say damn if you do, damn if you don't?
Marina Mabrey has finally admitted she overreacted when she shoved Caitlin Clark to the ground, but her confession came wrapped in so many layers of excuses and deflections that it felt less like an apology and more like a desperate attempt to rewrite history. Her now infamous comment, damned if I do, damned if I don't, wasn't the sound of someone taking responsibility. It was the sound of a player caught red-handed, scrambling for a narrative that absolves her of a blatant, non-basketball cheap shot, fueled by what looks like pure, unadulterated jealousy.
Oh, and Marina Mabrey's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it.
That Mabrey now, that is Marina, is in a bit of a panic.
Let's rewind the tape to that infamous moment on June 17th. Third quarter, Indiana Fever versus the Connecticut Sun. There is no active play, no loose ball, no screen being set. There is just Marina Mabrey seemingly deciding that the rules of basketball are temporarily suspended, launching her entire body into an unsuspecting Caitlin Clark. This wasn't a hard box out or an accidental bump. This was a full commitment, two-handed shove with intent, the kind of hit that makes you check the roster to see if she secretly signed a linebacker contract during halftime. The crowd gasped, the players reacted, and the game immediately descended into chaos as technical fouls began flying like confetti.
You pushed the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, to the ground. Why would you do that? There's no damn if you do.
Infamous moment came on June 17th, yeah. The moment came in the third quarter. Actually, you know what? In my opinion, Sophie Cunningham thing is as infamous. This led to a brief scuffle between Clark and Shell, which prompted Connecticut veteran Marina Mabrey to come up and shove Caitlin to the ground.
But Mabrey's act of aggression didn't just cause a momentary stoppage, it lit a fuse. 1 quarter later, after JC Sheldon poked Clark in the eye and stalked her down the court, the aftershock hit. Fever enforcer Sophie Cunningham, having seen enough, decided to take matters into her own hands, grabbing Sheldon and planting her on the hardwood in a move that looked more at home in a WWE pay-per-view. Mabrey didn't just commit a foul, she set a tone, and that tone was that this was no longer a basketball game. It was a street fight.
Situation with Caitlin Clark in which she shoved her to the ground and it made national news. Hence, part of the reason why I believe Caitlin Clark got hurt early on.
That weren't during actual basketball plays. The Kennedy Carter bitch slam that started this all.
The fallout was immediate and immense. This wasn't just another sports debate on ESPN. The Wall Street Journal published a bombshell article calling out a hostile work environment in the WNBA. Suddenly, the once niche fan theories about a potential civil rights lawsuit against the league became the lead story on national news. Fox News was covering it. Jason Whitlock was weighing in. It was being debated on daytime talk shows like it was a federal case, because at this point it practically is. Overnight, Marina Mabrey went from being a respected WNBA veteran to the walking, talking poster child for the league's festering thug problem, a label she gift-wrapped for herself on national television.
Caitlin Clark running down the court, Diamond DeShields slamming into her like she's a safety in the National Football League. You're trying to tell me that was a basketball play?
Did anything because of the way the fans reacted. Maybe said and shoved Clark. They gave me a tech for initially. I don't care. Honestly, I really don't. Obviously, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but I'm not trying to go after a certain player. I'm not trying to go after certain players, certain shit.
But here's the thing, Mabrey's shove didn't happen in a vacuum. She was simply the latest inductee into the Not a Basketball Play Hall of Fame, a special club of players who seem to believe that fouling Caitlin Clark is a competitive sport in itself. Remember Kennedy Carter's blindside hip check in 2024, a pure off-ball cheap shot, or Diamond DeShields midcourt body check that looked more like an NFL safety blitz. And of course, there's Angel Reese's extensive collection of greatest hits featuring clotheslines, flying elbows, and that signature oops did I do that look of feigned innocence. Mabrey's move wasn't just another entry, it was a defining moment, one of only—
If you guys don't remember, Caitlin's about to take a layup, and Mabrey just body checks her in the air. She just body checked her in the air, and the referees just ignored it.
Marina Mabrey get honest about Caitlin Clark's shove. 2 days after that shove heard about the women's basketball world, Marina Mabrey was heard saying, damn if I do, damned if I don't. How could you say damn if you do, damn if you don't?
This brings us to Marina Mabrey's pathetic and contradictory defense tour. First, in an interview, she tried to blame the fans, claiming her foul was only upgraded to a flagrant 2 because of their overreaction. This is the classic defense of a toddler caught with his hand in the cookie jar, blaming the security camera for recording him. Then on an Instagram live stream, when a fan called her out, she dropped her now infamous damned if I do, damned if I don't line, a go-to excuse for anyone unwilling to own their actions. As if not body slamming someone would have also resulted in criticism.
To show up the herd world, Mabrey was heard saying, damned if I do, damned if I don't, when addressing a commenter on an Instagram live stream called her ever shoving Clark. Mabrey since opened up about this shove.
Trying to moonwalk back said incident. Now that somebody's actually talking about actual government involvement, of which
when those excuses didn't land, she tried to play the innocent, claiming, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, and I've never done that before. Right? Except there's clear video evidence of her body checking Clark in midair during a previous game. A foul so blatant it's shocking it wasn't called. And let's not forget the spinning back fist she aimed at Aaliyah Boston in the very same game as the shove. She missed, but the intent was as clear.
She had me and Caitlin have competed against each other in the playoffs. She threw me into the benches in the quarterfinals. We didn't go after her for it. She's competitive. When did she throw Mabrey into the benches? And if she did, in fairness, Mabrey got her back with.
At first, you was kind of cool. You was doing the unrivaled thing. You know, they had you in a bad spot in Connecticut. Your boy John the Liquidator was rocking with you, Marina. Then you come into the league and push.
The context of JC Sheldon's actions is also critical. Her history of aggressive plays, including incidents that led to injuries for players like Sig Coulson, paints a picture of a player who consistently crosses the line. So when Sophie Cunningham reacted, many saw it as long overdue retribution, not just for the poke on Clark, but for a pattern of dangerous behavior. If you think Sophie Cunningham was justified in standing up for her teammate, hit that like button and let me know your thoughts in the comment.
She's competitive and I was about to get the ball. I get it. Throw me out of bounds. We got back up and kept competing. Maybe included with, so at the end of the day, it was a play on the ball when she did it, and I probably overreacted a little bit. My teammates is getting hit, and I'm not okay with that. And I was like,
no, that's when none other than my favorite right now on the team, Sophie Cunningham, put the beats and feet and elbows all over who? Lacey Sheldon. Now, that whole situation was diabolical, and it had a trajectory into the direction the season was going to go.
All of this, the cheap shots, the escalating violence, the league's inaction, creates a mountain of evidence for a potential lawsuit. This isn't just a collection of hard fouls, it's a documented pattern of targeting, a culture of unchecked aggression, and a leadership team that appears to be paralyzed by fear. Instead of protecting its biggest star and the integrity of the game, the WNBA, under Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, has allowed a hostile environment to fester. They're so terrified of being called names or getting dragged into identity politics that
incited several technical fouls and weeks of heated discussion about how Clark is treated by peers afterwards, but it prompted Fever enforcer Sophie Cunningham to essentially start a brawl by grabbing and throwing Sheldon to the ground.
And now, with the threat of federal civil rights investigations looming, Marina Mabrey is trying to moonwalk away from the mess she created. Her so-called admission that she probably overreacted a little bit felt about as sincere as a hostage video. It was a carefully worded, PR-vetted statement designed to create the illusion of accountability without actually admitting any real fault, but fans and analysts saw right through it. One minute she's defiant, the next she's playing the victim. It's a choose-your-own-adventure of excuses, and none of the paths lead to the truth.
The opinion piece that came out of the Wall Street Journal about Caitlin Clark and a hostile work environment in the WNBA.
The reality is simple. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment basketball play. It was a reckless, premeditated, off-the-ball cheap shot that embarrassed the league, handed Caitlin Clark's legal team a golden piece of evidence, and permanently stained Marina Mabrey's reputation. And watching her twist herself into a pretzel trying to downplay her actions has been almost as ugly and as revealing as the shove itself. This crisis is far from over because the initial act of violence has been compounded by a stunning failure of leadership and a complete absence of genuine accountability.